You know it's Strike Force, baby.
I had to hit up my plug. You can't finesse the finesse. No, you can't finesse the finesse. No, you can't finesse the finesse. No, you can't finesse the finesse. Ooh.
What's up, people? We're back. It's been a little minute, but I'm gonna do a little custom for y'all. One last time for the new year. We're planning on really getting back into things this new year. This we're gonna do is not new. We're turning these all white Jordans into a pair of Frags. This is actually for a friend, for one of my best friends, Young Tef. He does the music for the intro and a lot of music you hear while we're doing reviews or customs in the background. It's Young Tef on YouTube. You can look him up. Anyway, we're gonna turn these all white into a pair of Frags. I took a picture of what they looked like before, took the dirty laces out, cleaned them up, scrubbed them real good compared to what they looked like before. I thought I was gonna have to repaint this white because it was so dirty, but when I cleaned it up, it's like new. We're probably not gonna have to do that. We'll see how it looks after we deglaze it. To get started, we're gonna prep it. You could either use Angela's deglazer or some acetone. As you see me do in the past, use cotton balls if there was any, painting on the midsole you didn't want to take off with a deglazer. I would use a cotton ball to get in there real nice and close to that without taking the paint off. But being this is an all white shoe, I'm just gonna use acetone and a paper towel because I'm doing the whole shoe. I don't gotta worry about rolling over anywhere. Like I said, we scrubbed it down with the Angela's cleaner and the brush. Got it looking nice and clean, the bottom, all the sides. We're gonna be doing the tongue. We scrubbed it all down, let it dry real good. Now, we're gonna deglaze it, get it ready for paint. Okay, we got the sneakers all deglazed. I went ahead and started using a rag because the paper towels was just getting all shredded up. You can see the paint even came off the Jordan symbol here. You can see like the white paint coming off. I made sure to use a white washcloth so it didn't leave any colorization on the sneaker. So next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna mix our paint. For this, we're gonna be using Angela's Royal No. 5, and we're gonna be using Angela's Flat Black. We're gonna mix them both with a duller. I'd say about a 10 to 20% ratio of duller per paint. So I'm gonna mix it in these little jars I got here and get ready to start painting the shoe. We're gonna start, the frag. This part here is gonna be blue. This is all gonna be black. The toe will be black. The real frags have a blue undertow, but I'm not gonna paint the undertow because you gotta wear sole protectors and the paint just comes off. There's really no way to get that blue to stay unless you got like the clear bottoms and you stain them, and that really doesn't work all the time either. We're gonna go ahead and just get started with this blue. We're gonna go very light coats. It's better to do 2 or 3 coats very light. You don't want to go thick and get it clumpy. Alright, as you can see, we got the first coat on there. I did end up adding the rest of that blue paint to here because it was too much duller. It was just way too dull. So don't go by the mixture how you saw me mix it in the beginning. I dumped the whole rest of this bottle into that. Anyway, you see how you can still see the white coming through some parts, and I wasn't really as careful with the parts I knew was getting black. But this is just a first coat. I'm going to come back in, get in real tight. Like around these edges where it meets where it's going to be white, you just got to go real slow. There's no other way around it. And where it gets up in here, I got to get a little tighter. Just give it all a nice second coat. Hopefully it'll be looking solid blue by then. Then we'll see if we need a third coat or if we can move on to the black.
Wait a minute!
The white isn't showing through no more, becoming much more solid. After seeing it like this, I am going to go ahead and put one more coat of blue on here before I get to the black. Alright, we got the third coat. Like I was saying, you don't got to be so careful where it's going to get painted black because it's going to get painted black over that. But you have to be very, very careful where it's meeting the white, where it's not going to be painted black. Especially like, how the leather has these little flaps on the edges. It's extremely hard to paint that. You just got to go slow. If you have any problems with it, maybe you need a smaller brush. I use a medium-sized brush, and to get those edges, I just come, you know, I pull away from it. I just go real slow. There's no other way to do it. I didn't film it all because it just takes so long. So we're gonna wash up our brush, put this away. The black I made earlier, I'm gonna add more black to it because I already know it's gonna be too much duller in there. And then we'll get started on the black. I do want a little bit of duller in my paint, even though it's a flat black. If anybody saw the Jordan 5s I did on this channel, they came out shiny. So I switched from regular black paint to flat black, and I'm also going to add duller in the finisher, which a lot of people suggested on the first video. We'll see how that works, adding duller to the paint and also to the finisher. But this is all going to be white here. This is going to take a while getting very close to these edges without hitting that white. If you get it on that white, it's going to be very hard to get it out of that little tiny crease there. It's going to be very hard to clean. Most likely you're going to see it. So it's just better to go very slow, very light layers of black. Just make sure you get as close as you can without hitting that white. You really want to fill in all the holes with the stitching and this leather edge. Like I said, with these holes in here, you want to paint where the shoelaces are actually going to go inside there. All those little details you don't want to overlook. So just take your time. Multiple thin layers is the best way to go. Alright, we got the first coat of the black. Obviously, since it's a darker color, you're getting a lot better coverage off of just one coat. You can barely see any of the white poking through like you could with the blue off the first coat. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to have to do one more coat of this black, and then we'll get started on the tongue, the inside, and of course the black detail for the Air Jordan logo there on the side. So, just one more quick coat of black, and then we'll move on to painting the inside and the tongue. Alright, so we're basically done with the outside of the shoe. Did my second coat of black. The black and the blue looking nice and solid. Now what we're going to do is the tongue and the inside, which is supposed to be black. And then after that, only thing we have to do is define details on the Jordan logo. But for this, we're not going to use regular paint. Instead of flat black, I'm using regular black Angelus paint. I mixed it in one of these. I mixed it with water so it can absorb into this cloth better. It's basically a 50-50 mixture, 50% water, 50% paint. I'm going to be using a much thicker brush. This is also going to go on in multiple thin layers. But as you're going to see, it's going to soak it up pretty quick. So you're going to need quite a bit more paint for this part. I got the first one all painted, all up in there. I had to make some more black with paint mixed with water. It really used a lot of it. Used probably about 75% of that little jar full. This tongue is just soaked, so I'm going to stick this probably by a heater or somewhere while I paint the second one up. So in case this needs a second coat, which it looks like it will in a couple places, I can't even really touch it right now. It's pretty soaked. It really took a lot of the paint. So I'm going to stick this by a heater, let it dry, and we're going to go ahead and get started with this second one. I can't really show you because it's kind of wet, but I really went far into all the crevices, like all up in here. I went down. I made sure I really, anywhere that could possibly be seen while you're wearing the shoe, I made sure to go ahead and hit it.
I'm with them shooters, ripping the cobra. Girl, what you doing? Can you come over? I play some music. You bend it over, you bend it over, you bend it over, you bend it over, you bend it over.
Alright, we got the first one. We let it dry in front of the heater. So this is all nice and dry. I'm gonna go back and give it a second coat. Some of these places I can still see the white kind of showing through. And I'm also gonna get a little closer. I couldn't get all the way down because this was wet before, so if I folded it over, it would have got on here. So I'm just gonna get further down in here and go over, make some of these places a little darker. And the reason we add the water is so it stays soft, it doesn't get stiff. So like this is still feeling like a material in here, it's still nice and soft. So we'll just go ahead and give this another coat real quick.
Thank you for holding.
We got 2 coats on the tongue and the inside. The other one's dry and this one's pretty dry. Now we're gonna start the last 2 details. We gotta put the blue on the Jordan and we're gonna put the black on that Jordan logo. The red one, this is a Nike logo, but I have a Jordan logo, but I'm still gonna paint a blue. Okay, I don't know if you're supposed to do this. The idea just popped in my head, but I'm gonna chop. It's a pretty fine brush. I don't know if you can see that. It's a pretty fine tip, but this is very, very fine. So I'm gonna cut about half the bristles right off and make it a little bit more fine of a brush. I got it coming almost to a point. Alright, we got our 2 side logos done on both the sneakers. Bow, bow. Next thing we're gonna do is go back to the blue. This will be the last touch before we put our finisher on it. And we're gonna turn the little Jordan sign. Like I said, it's supposed to be a Nike sign on the real frag, but I'm not gonna try to freehand a Nike sign. I'm just gonna trace over the Jordan sign.
It was once upon a time. I thought I'd lose my mind if I ain't get a dose of you. Tell me what I'm supposed to do when you were my nicotine. Look what you did. I know they say time heals all the scars, but look at all my flaws.
Okay, we got our Jordan logos on both of the tongues. I went over it like 2 or 3 times because the blue wasn't really showing up on the black. So we made sure we went over that a few times just to make sure that really shows up with the blue. We got our side logos done. Our last step is we're gonna take our matte finisher. And last time the finisher seemed to make my shoes a little too glossy. So somebody has said in the comments to add a little duller to the finisher also. So I'm gonna add just a drop of duller. I'm gonna take y'all's suggestion and add just a drop of duller to my finisher. So hopefully it won't come out so shiny like it did last time. I like the way it is right now. This kind of a matte finish it has. If I can keep the same type of gloss, maybe a little bit shinier, but not much. You want to make sure everything's really dry before we get to this step. And basically you're just going to paint over all the leather. You don't need to paint over the sole. Being that hasn't been painted, this is just going to seal it all in and lock it, protect it so it doesn't come right back off.